Warning, this video is only for 14 and up, and if you're under, please leave this video, because I will not be accused of something I don't want to be accused of. Please, if you're under, leave the video. Stories go through the air. You can listen and you cannot. But stories are here to help. Understand what is right and what is wrong. But sometimes stories can do the opposite. There's no right or wrong. You have to form your own opinion. But that is not what you're here for. You're here to listen to this silly little god of this channel. Listens to his mind going on about his stories, about the different worlds where he's traveling to, and where he can make some small different in a timeline. Welcome to the Blue Mask What If channel. Hello everyone, this is Blue Mask and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys will enjoy my video, and let's begin. Hello everyone, this is Blue Mask and welcome back to my channel, like I said in the intro. And yeah, welcome back to the next part of What If Belle Cranel Was a Monster Hunter. Last time we left off, the bar fight between Belle, Lucy, and the Apollo Familia just happened. Well, last episode. But they got kind of interrupted when some few Apollo Familia, actually they actually were thrown in to two ram brothers. Rams, like they have horns and animal tails and everything else like a damn human. But these are called Morgoth and Moog. They're reference characters, but they will not be in the series ever again. It was just a one-off thing. So yeah, the fight happened in the bar, and they got back to the Familia home where they explained everything to their parents. So they kind of gotten a little in trouble, but we also saw in the end of a vision that the blue-haired character from the Apollo Familia had about the demise of the Apollo Familia. And I had to think about how to do this because it was kind of hard. I kind of thought about it, but I didn't know what to put in between, like, should I do another episode about the fight before the fighting or anything else? Then I just decided, nah, I'm not gonna do that. That will be just more dump of things. So yeah, that's not what I'm gonna do. So instead, I'm just gonna go straight out. Hello everyone, and welcome to the fight between Apollo and Ishtar Familia versus the two twins from different families. Belle Cranel and Lucy are gonna fight against these two Familia alone. So I hope you will enjoy this episode. Let's begin. We start on a cliff looking, not over anything at this point in time, but we start near a cliff where we can see a person sitting on the cliff side and another one standing, at the edge. This was Belle Cranel and his, aka almost twin sister, not Lucy. Yeah, it's Lucy. Sorry. This was Belle Cranel and Lucy. Lucy Romeo, I think I gave her that last name. Standing over this cliff, looking out towards something we don't see yet. Belle and her were staring out and just having some small talk. So, how do you think this will go? I mean, it's gonna be easy for us. We're just two, and, well, they have more people, but we are stronger than them, more experienced than them. You're kinda right with that. At this point, we turned behind. Well, the camera is standing behind Belle and Lucy, and then we looked towards the horizon to see the castle that, in the original canon, Apollo Familia is, well, holed up in. But at this point, the Ishtar Familia is holding up in this place. But if you remember last time, that's not where we ended off, and nothing has been done about the rules of the war game. But let's go back then, so I can explain what happened in that meeting. Time skip. Like 5 days before the war game was announced. There it is. Oh, sorry. I just got distracted. We see one woman walking down the hallway looking in the blue elegant dress that Hestia was wearing in the movie, so you can kind of guess who it is. She walks down the hallway and into a meeting room where she sees a person sitting in a round table with another one, and one seat preserved for her. Well, it seems like you got an ally in this, Apollo. Yes, I do. And it seems that we're gonna work together in this war game. Hestia sits down at one of the seats across. I'm sorry. Sitting across from Apollo and Ishtar. Ishtar and Apollo has an alliance now that require them to go to war games with partnering up with each other to fight with the others in war games. Hestia sits down, like I said, and looking at both of them where Demeter is standing between them at the table, because Hermes is more allies to Hestia in this point than Ishtar and Apollo, so he is not a equalizer here, so he's not allowed to. Instead, Demeter is the one that is talking in this meeting. Alright, everyone is here. Please calm down. Demeter says as she looks over at the crowd that calms down. Today we're gonna set the rules for the war game between Hestia Familia and Apollo and Ishtar Familia. Now, let's start with the easy one. What do you want if you win the war game? Apollo smiled and looked at Hestia. I want some of your Familia members, Hestia. And I want 2 specific ones. Oh? May I ask who? I want the 2 people that is not actually twins, but act like twins. You mean Belle, Cranel, and Lucy Romeo? Yes, exactly those 2. I quite want them in my Familia. Okay then, that is kind of making sense. You, Ishtar? I want the fox girl, Haruhime, back in my Familia. I didn't get her to be exactly a Familia member before she was bought away from me. But I want her back. I see, you want Haruhime. Well, in that case, it's my turn. If I win, both of you will allow any of your familia to leave your familias. No questions, no ask. You will allow them to leave. That is quite... You're asking for me to give up my familia members, my hunters, my guild workers. I can ask anything I want. You will allow members of your familia to leave your familia if they want to. That is quite preposterous. Alright? You two will be banished from Aurario for 100,000 years before you can even step 1 foot back into the dungeon. Well, the Aurario's walls. You cannot. I mean it, and I heavily mean it. And every asset will belong to me and my hunters. Do you understand me? You want to take my red light district from me? Oh no, I don't need your red light district. I can find someone else to take that over when that happens. But every single asset, every single thing you own belongs to me after the war game. Do you understand? Fine. I will take half of the stuff you have and some of your familiar members then. Same for me, but I want all the girls then. Let's see if you actually can win. Demeter looked at them and just spoke. Alright then. The bets are in. Now, what do you want specifically to happen? I don't have time for this shenanigans about these two. So, captain versus captain. Both of them versus my captain. Well, that is not gonna happen for me, Ishtar says as she looked at Hestia. I don't want a captain versus captain fight. So? If you don't want a captain versus captain fight, then what do you want, Ishtar? I suggest a siege battle. Your familia versus me and Apollo in a castle. Fine, I can accept that. Both Ishtar and Apollo was kind of shocked by Hestia's immediately agreement with them about, Hestia agreement about the siege battle. You agree immediately? Yes, why not? I mean, I have nothing to lose more than I do. Well, I have nothing to lose. So I don't mind. Alright then. It's gonna be a siege battle between Hestia as the attacker and Apollo and Ishtar as defenders. Anything else? No, I'm fine with it. Then, how many familiar members are you all gonna choose? All of my Apollo familia members. Only my fighters of the Ishtar familia. I'm gonna send 3 people. Everything, and I mean everything, went silent. 3 people? Are you not trying to win? Apollo says, looking at Hestia. I mean, yeah, I could easily win with only 2 people. My captain and vice captain can defeat your familia in just 1 blow. I can only send Well, I can even only set one, my vice captain. She's very powerful. Like, who's your vice captain? Did you forget Ishtar? You met her. Althea. Everyone went quiet with this. That Althea is still... She is still in the public's eye, but they still thought she was a part of the Hera's Familia. She's still alive. Yes, still alive and kicking. She's quite strong. But I want you to have a fighting chance. So I'm only gonna send 3 people. Belle Cranel, Lucy Romeo, and Sard Romeo. Sard? Yes. My captain. But only if my 2 lesser members... My great... The great 2 twins I have are gonna lose the fight. He will jump in then. Are you not taking this seriously, Hestia? Apollo says, looking at Hestia with just a bored smile. Apollo. Sard is my captain at level 10. I will just reveal that. I don't really need to do this whiskey-wasky thing. He's level 10, so I don't have problem in sending him out to battle. I really don't care about war games. You just provoked me multiple times, Apollo. Oh, and Ishtar. Hestia throws some papers to her, lighting up with, a black circle on one of the lines. This is the contract you signed with my familia when Aisha, I don't remember her name, signed to become a training and a hunter because she found it excitement to hunt those. She's not allowed to be in this war game. What? Ishtar shouted as she looked at the contract. Hunters are not allowed to fight each other. So, if a familiar member of yours is, let's say, a hunter, and their gods and goddesses fight, that hunter cannot fight the other hunters. But you fought me, the only god that actually have a permanent hunters. Meaning all of my familiar members are hunters. And and handlers. Meaning I need to use my hunters in this fight. So Aisha is the one that needs to not. Is not allowed to fight in this fight. Oh, then you didn't read it? That's not... Yes, it's fair. And you signed it. Ishtar got angry when Demeter grabbed the papers and looked at the signed signatures at the last page, being Ishtar and Hestia. This is a legal contract and the rules do say that. So, Aisha is not... The member of Ishtar Familia named Aisha is not allowed to fight in this fight. But, preventing cheating, she has to go somewhere so she can't interact with any of her Familia members. Oh, how about the hostess of fertility? I hear a former captain of Freya, Mia Grant, owns that. Ishtar got mad of just, Freya being mentioned. You're suggesting I'm suggesting that Aisha is gonna stay at the Hostess of Fertility until the Familia, war is over. That is acceptable. What? You signed this contract, Ishtar. You cannot argue. But that means she can... Like she said. And it's also stated in the rules. If any Familia is a full-scale Familia hunters, they are allowed to use their hunters, but not their main weapon. Meaning their hunter weapons are not allowed to go against human flesh. They can still use regular weapons, but not hunter weapons. Ishtar looked at the rules and saw that nothing was wrong. Damn it! Now, anything else? No, not at all. Oh, I give you 5 days. Huh? You need that time. I give you 5 days to prepare before my free members of my familia will come knocking at your door. And you better be ready, because they will hit hard and fast. Quicker than you even can notice them. Hestia stood up and walked out of the room, shocking everyone about her confidence, because she wasn't like this in heaven. She was more nervous or more recluse. Here she's just a fucking demon at this. Looking at the stand, we see, Hephaestus, Hermes, Loki, Freya take Miek and yeah, those are the gods that was in the same row when my Hestia has a very mean bone in her. Freya says, looking at Hestia that left the room. I must say, she has picked up some new habits from her familia members. Yes, I must say. Her hunters is very special to change her this much. I think it's mostly Sard. You're quite right in that. Sard is a... let's say a weird influence on people. What do you say, Loki? Hephaestus says, looking at, Loki that had a... yeah, you can probably guess what kind of ship I'm shipping Loki and Hestia together. The gods can just see Loki with a heavily blush on her. Loki? Oh God. Loki, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. But oh my god, that was really... Freya looked at Loki and had a surprised look. Loki, did you just like what Hestia did? Yeah. She took the room. I need to go. Loki stood up and walked out of the room with some of the other gods that left, with the others standing there in shock. So we all just saw Loki blush at Hestia. Yes, Freya says with a kind of shocked look in her eyes. Loki, this teasing goddess that had teased Hestia in heaven for multiple millennia, Tate was just confused at this point, saying what he just said. Yeah, my friend, he did. Miek says, looking at the door as well. How much do you guys bet they will get together in a couple of months or a couple of days or weeks? Give them a month. 2 weeks. 5 days. Yeah, I'm with Freya with this one. Both of them, well, all of them set 500 values in this bet. With Freya and Hephaestus taking 5 days, with Miek and taking over 5 days for them to get together. Well, after that, a whole things happen in Ishtar and Apollos. A little things happen in Hestia's situation, but nothing changed much. The only thing that really happened in Hestia's familiar home was that Belle and Lucy trained with Sard for 5 straight days without any breaks. Except where they have to actually take a break so their muscles are not gonna, destroy themselves or anything else. So, after that, and after the 5 days were up, we come back to the scene where we see Belle and Lucy. Lucy sitting on the cliff and Belle standing over the cliff. With both, Belle having the 2 sheath weapons that you can get in Monster Hunter Wild. That has 2 small katanas at his side. And with Lucy having 2 swords on her sides from the hunters. They have just... No, funny thing, they don't actually have weapons on them. Both Belle and Lucy doesn't have their weapons on them, looking over at the castle where they could see some people rushing around. Are you 2 ready? Sar stood behind them looking at the castle as well. Yes, Uncle. I'm ready, Dad. Alright, you 2 get ready. Time is almost near. After some few moments, all of them heard a big coming from where Orario is. And all of them knew the war game has begun. In Orario, we see the gods, in the room where they were beforehand, with Hestia sitting on the far right and Ishtar and Apollo sitting on the far left side. So they didn't interact in this moment. Hestia looked at the screen where Hermes got permission to show the screen an iris message across the Orario and everything else. We see in the Hostess of Fertility, Aisha in a kind of maid dress. In the maid outfit of the Hostess of Fertility, but instead of just her covering up her chest area because of that, she has actually cut out a boob window so everyone could see her boobs because she's an Amazon. And has a much shorter skirts up to her where her butt starts. So she has a very short skirt and a boob window in her outfit, attracting a lot of males to, the Hostess of Fertility because of that. Mostly it's because Mamma Mia knows about Amazons and how they don't like to wear a lot of clothes, so she has this designed for Amazons if she got one. And that came to use. Mia smiled at a much money of many males coming in to, well, watch the war game and look at Aisha. We see in the hall of the hunters. Wow, I really want to design the hall of the hunters actually. Probably Minecraft or anything else. We see in, like I said, the hall of the hunters. We see multiple hunters sitting at tables, round tables and long bars. And palicos rushing around with their food, and a big mama cat baking food and drinks all around, with some cooking cats that cooks also around them. But we see at the main table, we see at a larger tables and down the table line, it's like the Loki Familia's eating hall, if you've seen that. It's kind of like that, but the round tables all around the hall and everything else. But there's still a long table that's there in front of everyone, where you can see a big chair where Hestia sit, two chairs that's smaller than that where Sard sits on Hestia's left, but for the people that's looking at them on her right, and Althea sitting on her right, that's the left with people looking up at them. With Althea looking at the screen with some of the other executive of her familia, this being Himmel and Frieren, sitting at the table as well. They are executive of Hestia Familia. I almost forgot they're not didn't exist, but they do exist in this version. Different character, same name. Still have the same design, different characters. Sitting at the table as well, looking into the screen as well, where we also can see other people sitting at there, and two chairs are not filled. This being Belle's and Lucy's chair, because there are executive, but smaller ones. They're not big ones, they're smaller. They're, like I said, they're the executive of the hunters, meaning the supply lines, the food, the drinks, the healing supplies, and the welfares of their familiar members. So complaints, items go to them. Then we have of the executive that is not Himmel, Belle, Frieren, or Lucy. We have 5 other executive. Two of them are handlers, that being actually Belle's mom and dad, and 3 of them are hunters. No, 6. Let's count it up to 6. Belle and Belle's parents are executive. Belle's dad is the finance and money, where the money have to go or anything else. Belle's mom is more of the where supplies need to go. Belle and Lucy is the one that counts them, or where they are, or how many supplies are going to be made, or what supplies are going to be lost. Belle's mom is the one that makes sure where everything have to go. Then we have one of the higher executive of the familia, being a woman. She's a huntress that is more of a Amazon descent. She comes from she actually comes from the wild area, but she is a She's around 20 years old at this point. She's very high. She's around 20. She is a hunter. She is actually a daughter of a former Zeus familiar member's daughter. So she had a mother that is a Zeus familiar members, from Zeus familia, that she is the daughter of. Then we have a guy that is actually from the old world that came to the newer world, well, the wild area, or the Forbidden Lands, to go there to make sure everything was fine, but decided to stay when he was there. He loved the place and everything else. He joined Hestia Familia and came to this one to explore more. Then we have another guy that is also from the old world. He is he's like in his 40s, 50s with almost graying hair. He's very big man. He's like Fabius from Wild and another game. I'm blanking on what hunters he actually came from. Yep, but he's that one. He looks like he has the body type of Fabius, but he is the great grandson of Fabius after he got retired and got a family. Fabius moved back, he got a family. His great grandson went back to the wild area to be there, joined Hestia Familia, and then yeah. That is 3, so the last one is also a woman. I said 6 people. 2 of them are down. No, 4 of them. Then 2 more. These 2 being these 2 being of the Vivirian race. A hunter woman and a handlers as well. Let's say that they come from that one. They're Vivirians, one of them is a hunter, one of them is not. I need to explain them in another episode. But that's where the table is and how many seats are not there. So you guys understand that. I had to explain how many executives there were because I didn't explain it sometimes. So everyone in the hall is getting excited to see the beating of, well, Ishtar and Apollo, with some of the Xenos also being there drinking and having fun as well. Over at the Loki Familia home, by the way, Lily and Haruhime is in the crowd with Bells and Lily's siblings, sitting at the table watching the Iris match. But at the Loki Familia home, we see all the executives being there looking at the screen with Lufia as well. But Eyes and Tiona and I sitting in a couch for only 2 people, and is getting kind of nervous, but both of them knew that their partners can fucking fight. Sorry. Just making sure nothing would happen. So yeah, they're sitting there making sure that, well, not making sure, they're just a little nervous for their partners out in this war game. Sayona is holding Ice's hand, and Ice is just trying to help her calm down, but he's also trying to calm down as well. All of them was watching the screen after it appeared in their familiar home. After the dawn reached, we're going back to the fighting area. Belle and Lucy, well, Lucy stood up and Belle stretched a little to get it ready to fight. Both of them looked at each other and both of them fell, well, let me just get up. Yeah, there we go. Well, Lucy and Belle looked at each other after Lucy stood up and Belle stretched a little. Both of them turned to each other and nodded and then leaned forward, falling down to the ground from the cliff. And this is where the battle truly began. So, after Belle and Lucy fell from the cliff and actually landed on the ground, both of them looked up and started to run towards the castle. At the castle gate, some of the Ishtar and Apollo Familia spotted them rushing actually towards the castle itself on the first day because it has 3 days battle. So after the castle got alerted by the incoming fight, some of the archers from the Apollo Familia and Ishtar Familia stood on the wall and started to shoot arrows towards Belle and, well, Lucy. But when the arrows came around, both of them's just armors, well, Belle and Lucy dodged some of them, hitting away some of them with their, well, hands and claws they have on their gear. After the barrage was, well, some of the arrows almost hitting them, they hide behind some rocks before a bunch of arrows landed they couldn't actually dodge. Both of them looked at each other and split up from the rock, Belle going to the right, Lucy going towards the left. After that, Belle went looking at one of the corners of the wall and looked back up at the tower where he wanted to go. Belle smiled and started to transform. Lucy had another plan. Lucy was not going directly towards a corner of the wall. She ran towards the more farther away wall from Belle's, but still looking at the middle, looking how the archers are doing and anything else, and smiled as well. But she also transforming into, well, their armors that you can see on screens, monster form. Both of them doing that, and a kind of smoke appeared around them when this happened. I want to explain this. I did explain how it actually works. Belle and Lucy has a skill that lets them transform into monsters. More weaker monsters, they can probably stay in that form for days or weeks when they transform. Stronger monsters take out of that time. And if they go to an elder dragon, they can probably not handle that. They can probably stay in that form for like 20 minutes before their minds get taken over or anything else. But if they go after Fatalis, just to make sure, if they kill it and wear their monster or have a weapon on them from Tephalis, the Black Dragon, as it's called, or the big bad monster that it can take over anyone's body if they wear the full gear and everything else. Yeah, 1 second. They cannot handle that. Only 1 second before they're dead. Before Lucy and Belle are gone, replaced by the monster. So that's how dangerous this is. But because of Belle and Lucy wearing a weaker monster, they can probably stay a day in this form. But fighting do take a lot out of the time, so they lose more and more control of themselves when they're fighting. So after Belle and Lucy gets ready to transform, a smoke appears around them and it grows bigger and bigger and bigger until Belle's and Lucy's monster forms are revealed. Now, I want to make sure that everyone understands they do look like them, but their color schemes are different. Shit, I need the pictures of sorry, I just need the pictures of Lucy's hair. Really, that's how I imagine it? Okay, Lucy's hair is kind of brownly red on one side, on the left side of her head. Right side of her head. But if you look at her, it's on the left side of her, but it's on the right for her. And have silver hair like her mother. Well, she has her father's hair and eye color. It's on the right of her, and her mother's, one of her eye colors, is on the left side of Lucy. So the monster she transformed in has the colors of her father's hair and eyes is on the right, with it kind of blurring in the middle of this Lucy's transformation, and having like silver veins or anything else on the left side of her. The black color is kind of muted, but the main color she has is fully there. And with Belle's, that is pure white with purple lines in it. So Belle has a pure white body with purple lines going through it and everything else. When everyone saw them transform into monsters, Belle immediately jumps up to the corner of the wall, shocking everyone that was there. And, well, Belle used his tail to knock, some of the adventurers off the tower, landing them on the ground, hurting them much, or knocking them out. Belle makes sure he doesn't kill anyone. When he does this, he looks at the big tower in the middle and jumps towards it, making sure that he knocks anyone down that gets in his way. Lucy does the same, but actually stays... Sorry if you can hear my chair. I'm just rolling it back so I can sit down again. Sorry, it's very loud. Lucy is not... jumps on the wall itself and started to knock off members of Ishtar and Apollo members that is there. Lucy hits them away from the wall with her tail most of the time, but knocks back anyone that gets close to her with her claws. When she has knocked like half of them out of the wall that she's on, she jumps down into the courtyard and roars, getting everyone's attention on her. Most of the people there started to try to fight her, but she knocks them around and jumps everywhere, using the moves of her of the monster's movesets. So she's jumping around using her tools and everything else that she can fight with the monsters. Actually throwing out some few devastating weakness on them. Lucy does a whole lot of things to get everyone distraction when Belle is jumping on the tower itself. But still people noticing him, and it's mostly where the mage wall was in the original canon, where Belle is running, and Welf used his magic to make an Ignis Fatuus. Fuck, I'm butchering that. Ignis Fatuus on the mages that was on the bridge. That is where Belle jumps, and the red hair and blue haired woman was there. Shocked at this, and the blue haired woman falls on her butt and spoke. I told you this would happen. She looked at her friends that looked at Belle, and looking at Lucy in the I just had that word in the courtyard there. Seeing Lucy in the courtyard and remembering the warning that her friend gave. Cassandra, I think. Cassandra and... God, I forgot her name. Daphne. It's Daphne. Cassandra is the one that gets the vision. Daphne is the one that ignores it. But after seeing this, and remembering Cassandra's full vision, and actually explaining more in detail about the vision, she understands that she was correct. She actually had a true vision in this one, where Apollo will fall with Ishtar. Belle was standing on the bridge having knocked over the mages, with Cassandra and Daphne staring at him. Belle looked at him and wanted to make sure that anything happened, but they were just terrified. They couldn't move or anything else. So Belle walked forward past them. They didn't do anything because, I mean, what the fuck should they do? They're weaker than Belle, so they probably could not fight him anyways. So after Belle got through and de-transformed into his regular form, rushing into the tower and walking up the stairs, Daphne and Cassandra sat down and looked away from the fighting courtyard or anything else. So, where should we go? Mick, I would rather not fight them. And I heard he was kind. Yeah. Great choice. After, well, Belle got away from Cassandra and Daphne, he rushed up the stairs and rushing down the hallway of one of the corridors leading towards the throne room of this castle, because he doesn't have to sneak or anything else, because remember, if you guys remember, Belle is a level 6 and the Toad is like level 5, high 5. Belle is almost at middle 6. So yeah, the Toad is fucked. After a few minutes running, he reached the door of this room, and Belle of the throne room, and Belle kicks the door in, revealing some Ishtar and Apollo Familia members, and Hackney, the red hair guy, standing beside the throne where the Toad was sitting. Everyone was shocked how quickly he got after the ring throne, because it's been 7 minutes since this fight has started. So Belle arriving just in the middle of everything else just shocked everyone. Capture him! Hacking toss, or hacking call. I can't say that. Hacking toss yelled out to the members around them, and the Toad stood up from the throne she was sitting on that was kind of bent at this point. After she set up, everyone rushed over to Belle, and Belle just started to decimate everyone. He knocked out some few members of Apollo's, broke some of their bones and everything else. Belle threw some people out the door and anything else, this being 2 Amazons he can see as problems. So he threw them out of the door, slamming it shut so no one can get in. And he just started to kick everyone asses. If I could guess, There's no fight scene that would fit. After Belle kicks two Amazon, this being the silver-haired Amazon and the one that has a crush on Beat, he threw them out so they couldn't interrupt. You see, they're higher levels than others. But Belle first sees an elf coming towards him with a red scarf. After he tried to slash him, Belle ducked by his side, grabbing his scarf and just grabbing both ends of his scarf and just throwing him over his head, slamming into 3 people. An Amazon and Apollo Familia member, so 3 of them got knocked out. 3 Amazons trying to jump him, but immediately Belle did a roundhouse kick, hitting one Amazon that hit another and hit another, just throwing them away from the fight. After that, another Apollo Familia member tried to hit him, but he just gets punched in the gut and knocked out. And he just hits one in the head, one in just karate chopped one in the neck, or the back of the neck, knocking them out, throwing one into 5 people, knocking them out, and then just grabbed the annoying prom and just threw him at the door, knocking him out. This leaving Hakatosh and I know I'm saying his name wrong, but he doesn't deserve the respect. But the captain of the Apollo Familia rushed forward with his sword, so the Toad can get some, well, so both of them could hit him. Belle just used a hand and just shattered, or he just grabbed the blade between both of his, he grabbed the blade between his hands and just snapped it. And after he did that and the captain of the Apollo Familia looked, he just got a broken arm again and then thrown out of the room by the window. He landed on the ground harsh. After that, the Toad growled at Belle. Damn it, you! Well, it's kinda interesting, don't you think? My family had a problem with you overhunting a species down in the dungeon. Now, you family is gonna be trashed. You bastard! You're ruining my goddess's plans! Oh, man, I don't really care. And Belle just disappeared for a second and then appeared in front of the Toad, punching her in the gut, making her slump over. You tried to get one of my partners. Belle then fucking tried to grab her throat, but there's a lot of fat there, so he just grabbed underneath her throat and just lifted her up by her, well, clothes and skin above him, so she's kind of a little bit off the ground. She's standing up her tippy toes. She's fucking taller than Belle. And I don't want that. So Belle did the same as he did with the captain of the Apollo Familia and just threw her out of the window. Her landing a little bit away from not Akcharge. High cave? Apollo's simp captain. A little bit away from Apollo's simp captain. But when she looked up, she saw the chair just flying into her head and making one of her eyes just bulge out of one of them and just having now a chair imprint on her face. Bale smiled at this, but then something was... Sorry about that, mic got cut off. Then something happened in the sky, and Belle looked up to see it kind of with ashy wind coming from the sky, confusing Belle and Lilith that was sitting down, well, was in a human form at this point, sitting on a pile of unconscious Apollo and Ishtar Familia members. They heard the gong of, well, from Aurario, giving them the victory when the dark, ashen kind of situation happened. Belle grabbed one of them and recognized what it is. Oh god. The hell is a Gormagala doing here? If I'm fucking saying that correctly. Belle looked up and saw a timbered Gormagala landing on the ground in front of the castle. Belle immediately jumped down and rushed towards Lilith where she was. Both of them got on the wall and jumped down in front of in front of the castle where the Gormagala was. But they realized, fuck, we don't have weapons. We didn't expect one of these to show up, did we, Belle? Yeah, I know, okay? Both of them looked at this tempered Gormagala and they realized it could probably be a 8-9 one? Fuck, what do we... But before anything happened, the Gormagala moved back a little in shock, looked back and just was dragged to the right side of... No, to the left of Belle and Lucy. And it got thrown away from them and the castle, seeing Lucy's dad and Belle's uncle, Sard, standing in front of them with his hunting weapon. Belle and Lucy left them behind at the cliff. By the way, they never leave without them because they never does that. But this was literally a familiar war, so they couldn't use their weapons, so they have to go hand to hand, but easily defeating them. Remember, they're level 6. So after, Sard threw away the Gormagala, that is star 9. So if I would actually put them on a fighting kind of scale, the weaker monster, the frog and the chicken monsters from Wild and the great jaguars from World, they're right. 1 star is like level 2, 3 of a adventurer's level. The weaker ones, by the way, not the stronger ones. The beginning version of them is like level 3 in scale. Then that's the 1 stars is like level 2s and 3s. 2 stars is the 3 and 4. 5 stars, 4 and 5. 6 stars is 5 and 6. Wait, 2 and 3 are probably level 1 star. Level 2 and 3 are like 1 star. Level 3 and 4 is like 2 stars. 4 and 5 are 4 stars. Yeah. It's a 4 star. Level 5 and 6 are 5 stars. Level 6 and 7 is 6 stars. Wait, no. Let me fix that. 1 star monster is like level 2 in strength. Can be high as level 3. Level 2 stars is actually level 3 itself. can also reach in level 4, a low level 4 level adventurer. Then 3 is 4, 4 is 5, 5 is 1 star is level 2, 2 stars is level 3, 3 stars is level 4, 4 stars is around level 5, 5 stars is around level 6, the 6 stars around level 7, 7 stars level 8. You can probably guess, and a 9 is probably 9 stars probably level 10, or maybe a lower or high 9 as a monster. But a hunting party consisting of a high level adventurer or a hunter with the god's blessing can probably beat a level 9 in a 4-man group. So, if that makes sense. So, Zard grabbed this Gormagala and just threw it away. I want to make sure it's the black one that can create the frenzy virus of the monsters. That one. If I'm gonna give me a second. Okay. Gormagala from Monster Hunter. No. Oh, be quiet. Sorry. Monsters from Monster Hunter that spread the frenzy virus. Yes, that's what I'm searching for. Yeah, it's Gormagala. So I am correct. It's Gormagala. Is the one that spread the frenzy virus. And this one is a tempered 9. So Zard just threw this one away from his daughter and nephew. Both of you, get your weapons. I will hold this off for a little while. Both of them nodded and rushed off towards the cliff where Belle's switch axe and Lucy's sword and shield was. But Zard cracked his knuckles and arm and grabbed his sword that he has on his back. This one being the... It's the... No, that wouldn't be it. No, he would... Yeah, he would choose that one. Zard has the mechanical monster that is in Wild, by the way. He has the great sword of that one on his back. So having that on his back and grabbing it and having it in front of him, he gets ready to fight this Gormagala that screams at him. Back in Orario, after the sound of the defeat of Ishtar and Apollo, both of them were shocked at the god's meeting, and Hestia was not smiling because she notices the kind of frenzy ash that comes down from the sky. And when the almost Iris message was shut off, Hestia stopped them and said, "Let it run," confusing everyone until the Gormagala showed up. And everyone was shocked by its appearance. Sorry about that. After its appearance on the battlefield, everyone was shocked about this, but Hestia looks worried and fearful. If this one shows up in the dungeon, Hestia is fucking afraid of what it can do to the dungeon. Because the dungeon is alive, and the last time in recorded history that the frenzy virus was infecting anything was the dragon system in the wild area, where it affected it. And that thing was also alive in a sense. The dungeon is alive, but if it gets infected by this creature, Hestia is fucking afraid what will become of the dungeon. So Hestia begged Sard to deal with this one. And Sard did luckily arrive before the Gormagala could even fight Belle and Lucy. And she saw Lucy and Belle rushing off towards their hunter weapons. But Sard drew his bigger swords and got ready to fight. In the hall of the Hestia Familia, when they saw the monster appear, everyone was afraid of it, same as Hestia having the same worries. Same as the executive talking in the background. I'm worried about that monster if it actually comes to Aurario. Affecting everyone here could be dangerous. Yes, but I'm worried about if it's gonna affect the dungeon. That is a more risky place that I don't want to take. I hope Sard will deal with this one and kill it before it reaches Aurario. Before its corpse will even arrive. Althea looked, well, calm and still looked at the fight that was about to go on. In the Hostess of Fertility, after, well, the fight was over and everyone got their money, they were kind of surprised that the mirror didn't disappear before everyone saw the Gormagala arrive. Everyone was terrified of this monster. Some of them even thought it the Black Dragon, and actually shouted this out. But Aisha, being the one that actually was learning about this before the whole event happened, was actually told about the dangerous kind of monsters that could affect the dungeon. Everyone was told it in the training program. That's a Gormagala. Huh? You know it? Yes. Aisha turned to Mamma Mia and some of the other adventurers that was in there, listened to their conversation. It's a monster that has a virus attached to it called the frenzy virus. The last time that it was documented was in the land of the Forbidden Area, now called the Wild Zone. It infected the ecosystem there because it was kind of alive. So, if that thing is getting into the dungeon, I'm actually afraid of what it could do if the dungeon goes frenzy. Or goes psycho. So it's highly dangerous. Yes, and not allowed to go into the dungeon. I hope Sard can kill it then. Mamma Mia says, looking at the screen when Sard's pulled his weapon. In the Loki Familia home, they have the same kind of reaction, but was terrified when everyone saw the Gormagala appear. They had the same reaction and same conversations, and we don't actually need to stay there. After Sard drew his weapon, he was standing in his stance when the Gormagala rushed forward trying to knock into him. But Sard made sure that he charged up a counter and hit the Gormagala away from him, shooting out his grappling hook and dragged him towards it, cutting into, well, hitting its head more with its sword. Charging up his weapon and then slamming down, but the Gormagala dodged away from Sard. Sard drew his weapon up again and blocked a strike from Gormagala with his great sword. After that, the Gormagala went away, well, a little bit away, and spewed out frenzied flames from its mouth, and it rushed towards Zard when he dodged away from it. Rushing quickly over to Gormagala, Zard swung his weapon, but not in a charge mode, into its head, slamming the head away from Zard when he get into a first hit combo of the normal attacks, charging that up and slamming into its head and then charging up another one. But the Gormagala was about to attack when Zard did a shoulder charge into it and switched over to a counter. When the Gormagala tried to hit him again, he countered it again and then swings over at its wings, cutting into it. Gormagala jumped away from Zard and screamed out and activated his horns of it. But before it could do anything else, something jumped on its back, shocking it, and it tried to get it off. This being Lucy stabbing into its near its head and trying to make some scars or wounds on it. After jumping away from its attacks from its head and Bell coming from behind hitting its tail and Zard hitting its head, the Gormagala got knocked back after Lucy slammed into one of its wounds that she made on the Gormagala's back, slamming into his weapon once and then twice and then jumping off when it got knocked. Then Zard charged up the last combo of the normal attack, then did a double slam of his weapon, fucking cutting one of its hands off. It flies away from Gormagala that was shocked and stepped away when Bell came from its side and then just slammed the axe head into its head, knocking it back. When Lucy was there and cutting off one of its horns from its head, and it's just reeled back from it. After that happened, Bell and Lucy touched their weapon and transformed into a arc belt monster, Bell's being a pure white and Lucy's being a split between her colors. The Gormagala screamed and Bell and Lucy did the same. Both of them attacked the monsters with its change and everything else. The Gormagala attacked Bell, knocking him down, trying to bite into its neck. But Zard slammed his weapon from below into the Gormagala's head, knocking it up with Lucy grabbing its head with her mouth, slamming the Gormagala into the ground as well. Both Bell and Lucy started to rip into its wings so it couldn't fly away, with Zard just cutting from underneath the Gormagala. Bell and Lucy then used their change to use the Arcvelt's power on the ground and hitting it, knocking it back away from Zard and Bell and Lucy. All three of them stood in front of a very injured Gormagala at this point. It stood up and screamed again, getting its normal form, but then activated its two heads again, and trying to spread the frenzy virus onto Lucy and Bell, but because they're not actually full monster, they just get poisoned by it, not frenzy situation with them. Belle and Lucy immediately went over and then slammed into it, knocking the Gormagala up. Belle biting into it by its head, and Lucy grabbing it by its back leg. Both of them lifted up and trying to tear it apart, making it scream heavily. Then Sard, rushing over and jumping up from its ground, charged up his blade and then slammed into its middle part where it was ripping and just cut straight through it, killing the Gormagala. Belle and Lucy Belle having the front part of the Gormagala, then Lucy having the back part. Belle throwing the Gormagala away from him, Lucy throwing the body parts together. Both of the body parts lands together and Belle and Lucy de-transform, but they were very sick at this point because they were directly biting into it and having more frenzy, if I'm saying the virus correct. The frenzy virus going into them quickly. So they were very sick at this point, and the Ganesha Familia that was surrounded actually came over to them and helped them out and got everyone from the castle and everything else towards Aurario. After Belle and Lucy was knocked out of their form and the Ganesha Familia started to get everything, even the Gormagala's body, Sard walked over with some antidotes to them. It would not help, but it would still do. Lucy and Belle took it and took it a little and then lied down. It calmed the frenzy virus down, poisoning of it down in their bodies, but they still had to calm at this point. A Ganesha Familia member came over to them and put them on a cart so they could be taken back to to Aurario, with Sard going into the cart as well. You two, you did great. Be proud of yourself. Both of them smiled and then knocked out from the virus. After the events of the war game happening and the Gormagala appearing, the Gormagala's body was taken to the Hestia Familia home and it was cut apart as best it is can, and the meat was burned away because no one wants to eat infected meat. So that was thrown out and burned away in a burning pit they had with the Gormagala's hide, claws, bones, and everything else was put in away for the high-ranking members of the Familia. So they can go in and take the items because Belle and Lucy are not actually interested in the weapons or the armor pieces. So they didn't ask for anything else, and Sard doesn't need armor or a weapon. He's fine what he got. So that would put away from the higher members of the Familia. Ishtar and Apollo was demolished, with the Apollo Familia was disbanded and everyone left with Apollo being kicked out. Some of his Familia members followed him, being Hykentov and the elf and the Prom and some others followed him, but other members joined other Familia members. Cassandra and Daphne joined the Meek Familia after the fight. So that what's happened to him. Those two, and Cassandra and Daphne joined the Hunter program, with Daphne being a hunter and Cassandra going into a handler for Cassandra. No, Daphne. And after well, Apollo, the mansion of the Apollo Familia was taken over by the Miek Familia. So they have a new house and actually wanted to remodel it for chemistry and a hospital kind of situation. This is kind of inspired by a fan fiction that is very good. It's What If Dragonborn, if you can find it on YouTube. What if Dragonborn was in Danmachi, or her hearth. It's by a fanfiction writer. It's very good. Please, I will leave the description for the creator down below. She's awesome. She has good fanfictions. Highly recommend her. So they have gotten the Apollo Familia home as a. They are trying to remodel it into a brewing potion, where they can make a normal adventurer's potion. For those that goes into the hunter's potion, you go back to the Hestia Familia home and do that there. But they're also turning it into a hospital for everyone with lower cost and lower medical bills that needs to be paid. That is mostly what happened to Apollo and his Familia. The Ishtar Familia got hit hard. I mean, very fucking hard. Ishtar, after being kicked out, actually left the mortal realm. After some few hours, she left upon her light back to Tenkai. So she has disappeared from the earth, and 99.999% stayed in Orario, joining different familias or staying in the Red Light District. That has now been taken over by another god, or goddess at this point. Because of the Red Light District being more unsafe, she recruited, Hestia asked Freya to take over this because she's still the goddess of love and sex. I think I'm correct. She is the goddess of love and sex. Freya is. So Hestia gave that to Freya so she can control the area. Now, Freya did put a lot more restrictions about people going in. She has hired a few people to protect the prostitutes there. That was kind of a bonus. And this is not a and there's a lot more you have to pay to do this, so it's more expensive and more harder to do anything more illegal in there. But they also have got a lot of evidence about something else that has going on in Orario that is quite concerning. So they have that information to look through as well. Some few members that left was the one that had a crush on Beat actually joined the Loki Familia. The one that has silver hair, instead of her joining Hermes, she quite got interested in the Miek Familia's design and everything else, and joined them as a member. Yeah, so she's at Miek instead of Hermes, like I did last time. So she has joined Miek, and she has also joined the Hunters program. But the one that has a crush on Beat also joined as well. So she will also become a hunter. Aisha joined the Hestia Familia. So she can get more training and more into it. But yeah, that's mostly what happened. And Freya and Hephaestus lost the bet because Loki and Hestia hasn't done anything. But Belle and Lucy, after getting home from the whole event, with the Gormagala was in bed because they're kind of sick, so Haruhime had to take care of Belle for a couple of hours until Ice arrived to help out. So Belle has been taking care of his partners, and Lucy is being taken care of with hers. Their brother and sisters also help them out at some points with medicines and everything else. Because Belle and Lucy has experienced this kind of sickness beforehand after transforming. Actually ran into a Gormagala before they actually left. And killed it trying out their monster form and got heavily sick before they left. So a few days has to gone by before they left for Aurario. So Belle and Lucy is right now up and sick in bed with others worried from them. But they're not gonna die, they're just very fucking sick. So Belle and Lucy is out of commission at this point in time. After they arrived back after yesterday. So everything has gone quickly. And after I clean all of that, it's been around 3 days since that happened. Lucy and Belle is still sick. But they're getting better and better and everything else. So that's mostly what happened. And this is where I'm gonna leave it off. My throat is right now fucking hurting me. So I will stop the video here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Good morning, goodbye, farewell, see you later, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And the next... Fuck, I totally fucking forgot, didn't I? Oh my god, I totally forgot. Oh shit, you know what, the next week's vote will, I think I'm not gonna make a next week vote. I will choose the episode this time. So yeah, there will not be a next week vote. I will choose the video so you guys will not have to. Don't worry about that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Good morning, goodbye, farewell, see you later. I've also forgot. Q&A video, Q&A questions, still up. Go do that. I've done it a long time, so you probably understand what I'm asking for. Good morning, goodbye, farewell, see you later, have a wonderful, 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 wonderful day, my blue masks. Bye-bye!